My son Andy died by suicide on March 1st last year in Peoria at age 31. And the note found in his bedroom ended with, "I want to die. My soul is already dead. Marijuana killed my soul, plus ruined my brain." Andy, as a kid, had huge dreams: to have a collection of cool cars, to be a millionaire at age 40. He calculated that and started retirement savings when he was 16, to be a paratrooper with the Army's 82nd Airborne. In school, Andy was class clown. He was funny and fun and social, and he was admired by all. His self-confidence was high. He planned for a college degree after his Army service. But Andy's marijuana and alcohol use started at a very young age. Science tells us that 90% of substance addictions begin in a brain that is under age 18, and he started experimenting at about age 13 or 14. Andy was not a problem user in high school, rarely missed a day of school. He had decent grades. He was never observed by his family under the influence. Later, he earned an associate's degree, but it took about 4 years. Andy couldn't seem to get much of anything done by that time. Despite all his early successes, his self-confidence had plummeted by his 20s. His savings started melting away, which was absolutely devastating to him. At age 26, he's made his first call to a suicide helpline after being saved by his dog, Tritium. Andy told me later that was only the first of many times that Tritium saved his life. 2 weeks of mental health care and introduction to the county and the VA behavioral health care systems cleared Andy's head a bit, and he started to try to make a new life. Yet, at age 28, Andy was admitted again to a psych hospital with an additional diagnosis now of severe cannabis use disorder. And he now earned a year of court-ordered mental health care. He lost his legal right to own weapons because he was a threat to himself. He was now seriously isolating himself from his family and his friends, and he lost his home. During this time, Andy was arrested for a marijuana possession, and oddly enough, that is one of the best things that happened to him in his later life, because he elected to use the state task program to get sober and have the charge removed from his record. And during this sobriety, a little window opened in Andy's mind. He mended fences with family. He ended a 2-year spell of trying not to speak to me at all. He talked with me a lot then. We hiked together. His dreams were coming alive again, and his confidence was returning. Our marijuana laws were working for him. He ended a long period of unemployment, and he went back to work, landing a good job as an electrician apprentice. But sadly, the sobriety did not last long after the completed task program. Marijuana addiction is strong, and it took him right back. And in his last few days, he finally told me and his father and his social worker that he absolutely had to quit marijuana if he was to live. But he couldn't do it. He was addicted. He bought and used one day, and he flushed the remainder. He bought and used the next day, and he asked me to witness him flushing the remainder. And I asked him, "Does it help you feel better? Does it lift the depression?" And I still see to this day the big tears in Andy's eyes as he answered me, "No, Mom, it makes me feel sadder." And that was the last day I saw Andy, the last day I got to hug Andy, just a few days before he died. And I know that Andy's mental health was complicated by depression, possibly personality disorder, possibly PTSD, though Andy himself denied that with no symptoms of PTSD. And I can't blame marijuana alone for Andy's death, but I do blame marijuana for the ease with which it's used for self-medication, which then can imprison an addicted user in a private hell, the trap of denial that prevents one from seeking help. And I don't believe anyone who persists in saying there has never been a death from marijuana use. The coroner doesn't even test for marijuana after a suicide in Arizona. Andy's death was clearly related to marijuana use. He told us that in a quite clear fashion. Marijuana killed his soul and ruined his brain. Thank you.